Networking, networking, networking. The word that strikes panic into the heart of every true introvert. Me, I love structure. When I'm in a room with other people, I love to know the whys, the hows, and everything in between. My brain thrives in these kinds of situations. But as soon as structure is essentially thrown out, and we're all supposed to do just whatever feels right, talk to anyone you want, walk up and down a room with no particular set agenda, and strike up conversations willy-nilly, you've lost me. I find the nearest exit and I exhale in my car. Why? Like so many other introverts out there, I do not like networking. And this is what we're breaking down in this episode. The fact that most introverts do not like networking in the traditional sense. It sometimes feels forced, it could be awkward, and doesn't really leave time and space for genuine, deep connections. So, what's the alternative? Welcome to another episode of the series on introvert problems and faith solutions. Let's get into it. You're listening to the Driven Introvert Podcast, the place to be for dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs who are ready to birth the dreams, callings, and ideas the Lord has placed in their hearts. Do you sense that God is calling you to step out and do something new, but you're held back by fear and uncertainty? Do you struggle with believing that you can do great things because of your quiet, reserved, and introverted nature? Welcome here. I'm Remy Roy, your host and founder of shepacked.com. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, a creative, and a committed trier. I'm here to help you get unstuck and make progress on your God idea. Let's go. So I've never been comfortable with networking, especially networking in the traditional sense. Lots of people with varying backgrounds and interests trying to pass out as many business cards as possible. I've reflected on this to figure out why I feel trapped in these kinds of situations, and I feel the need to just dip out. And I came up with 3 reasons. Number 1 is what I've already mentioned. I'm looking for structure. So networking mostly didn't work for me. Number 2, I was insecure. Absolutely, I said it. I was not the most secure person in the world. I didn't think I was okay just being me. It felt like I needed some sort of validation to exist in a space and sort of structure to give me that validation, something to engage in, something to do. Number 3, I didn't know who I was, so I wasn't confident in who I was or who I could be. I hadn't developed my skills, my ideas, my outlook on life, and my inner world enough to confidently be, to just be. So who was I presenting in these rooms? The version of me who was still finding herself? I didn't think she was good enough. And number 4, of course, the introvert thing. Maybe I could handle 1.5 awkward conversations. Anything more was overkill. So I'm out. But what happens when you really do have to meet people? When your work, your growth, your profession, or your business demands it? This is where I believe in networking like an introvert. During traditional networking events, 70 to 90% of introverts find it very difficult to network. They sometimes struggle to make small talk. Also, they feel overwhelmed by the constant social interaction, and that makes it difficult for them to really establish deeper and genuine connections. It's easy to see introversion as a handicap that keeps us from forming relationships, getting to know people, and building a network. But nothing could be farther from the truth. What if I told you you could network like an introvert? Think about this. Do you prefer intimate collaborations over big group projects? Then figure out more ways to do that. Do you prefer one-on-one conversations and connections to being like in a crowded room with so many other people? Then figure out ways to do that. Find ways to reach out to peers, mentors, or people who are in a similar space. Schedule Zoom chats, coffee, or lunch, and just get to know someone who you'd like to connect with. You guys, the past few months, I have had so many Zoom chats. It's unbelievable, and I have been loving it. I love connecting one-on-one with people, sharing stories, experiences, ideas, and meeting people in just casual conversations with no airs. These are simple ways to approach networking in a way that works for you and focuses on your strengths. But it will require that you're very intentional about those connections. As you reach out to people and begin building your network, remember to create connections with the intent to give, not simply receive. And Try not to make a request with no context or prior relationship with that person. If you have to reach out to someone you don't know out of the blue, figure out a way to add value to that person. For one of the projects I'm working on right now, I've had to reach out to a lot of people that I've never met before. So every time I have to do that, I figure out a way to add some sort of value. Maybe I read their work, listen to their podcast, just connect with them on their level, something that, brings some sort of validation and I see you, to that conversation. This is crucial. The best way to approach networking is to think of who you might be able to serve next. With your business, your skills, what might people in the room need and how can you feel that need? I love Philippians 2:3. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. This reminds us to focus on others and their needs. It might seem difficult to understand the true meaning of networking, but this verse, I think, actually hits on it. It reminds us to focus on others and their needs rather than our own self-promotion. Instead of approaching networking as an opportunity to gain something for yourself, try to see it as a chance to connect with other people and learn about them. Even if you're ultimately selling a product or a service, when you put the needs of the people you're talking to and connecting with first, you can actually serve them better with whatever that you're bringing, whatever you have, not because you want to get from them. That mindset is very crucial. So here are some very practical ways for you to do that. Number 1, start by asking questions about other people's interests and experiences. People love to talk about themselves. Listen attentively to their responses and show genuine interest in what they have to say. One of my old bosses used to say that one of the ways she knows if someone has leadership qualities is by their ability to listen and really listen to what is being said. If you're in a room and important issues are being discussed and your mind is wandering, so much so that when you look up, you cannot remember, or maybe you're not even aware of what was being said in the room. You're not ready for leadership. You're not ready for more. And I remember thinking that I'm like, wow, I feel like I need to grow in this area because my mind wanders. And I use the same yardstick here because when you're genuinely connecting with people, you have to listen. You have to pay attention to them. I know I need to get better in this area for myself. And I hope you sort of recognize that need if you have it too. So ask questions, but pay attention to what people are saying. That's where the easy conversational back and forth comes from, because you remember what somebody said and you can, give a follow-up answer. So ask questions and pay attention to them. Number 2, focus on building genuine relationships rather than just collecting business cards or trying to know or get to as many people as possible. Look for common ground and find ways to connect on a deeper level. Don't lead with the intent to sell or make your thing, whatever thing you're coming with, front and center. Build the relationship first. Everything else can come later. Like I mentioned, you could connect further over a Zoom call or coffee to get to know someone better. When you have those genuine connections where you're just talking, you're able to find out more ways that you're connected, more things that you have in common. And that can build the relationship. You begin to talk about your lives, your experiences, even if it's just from a work perspective. You will uncover things that you would never have known if you were just being very transactional and trying to just get a business card and tell them what you do and try to sell to them. You are actually going to be a better salesperson when you know people one-on-one, when you can relate to their story, when they feel like you care about them. And I know that introverts, because we like this kind of one-on-one connections over just like a big crowd, we can be very great at this kind of connections, remembering details, finding those common grounds that help us connect with people and really serve them. So this will be very helpful for you as you seek to build your network and connect with more people. Number 3, find ways to help people in your industry. Find ways to help people on interesting projects, offer your skills and your insights and your abilities. Of course, you're not going to overbook yourself to do this, but collaboration is an excellent way to build your network and meet interesting people. When you show up for others, they remember you. When you show up for others, they speak up for you when the opportunity arises. So it's very important to look for ways to do that. How might you be able to lend your skills and your insights, your experience to help someone in your industry build something, do something, just help them out with something. And that will help you also in building your network. Remember that networking doesn't have to be about forcing yourself to be someone you're not. And that's one of the issues that I know that a lot of introverts have. This is an issue I have. When I'm standing in the room with lots of people that I don't know, it just feels like, what exactly am I trying to achieve here? Because like I said, I like that structure. And when I don't have that, or maybe when I don't feel confident enough to just talk about myself and, hype myself or self-promote, when I don't want to do that, I find it difficult to actually connect and make those important relationships. So it's not about forcing yourself to be someone you're not. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be the person that talks to 100 people. Be authentic, lead with generosity, and let your interest in other people speak for itself. All right, so we've been talking about networking and how to network like an introvert. And some of the points I mentioned, just to wrap up: ask questions, be genuinely interested in other people, in their interests, their experiences, find common ground. Number 2, focus on building genuine relationships rather than just transactional stuff. And number 3, find ways to help people. Offer your skills and your insights. And that way, you connect with people, you build relationships, and so many things can come from those kinds of relationships. I hope this helps you be more intentional in building your personal or professional network. I would love to hear from you. Are you an introvert? Do you love networking? What strategies have helped you overcome the overwhelm, if you experience that, and connect with more people? Send me an email at thedrivenintrovert@shepack.com. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this conversation, please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast. I'd also love your feedback on this episode. You can scroll down on your app and click write a review. I'd love to read your takeaways from this conversation. As always, don't forget to take courage, trust God, and go pursue your big ideas. See you next time. The Driven Introvert is produced by shepack.com and Remy Roy. Want to ask a question or share a comment on a future episode? Click on the link in the show notes to record your question in a voicemail.